I'm at the second day here at Yumacon. It is Sunday, and I'm here with another vendor who'll be telling me about what he does.
My name is Orlando Harding, and I am a writer for Number One First Comics. And I've been published for about, about 14 years now. And I write comic books. I was able to break in. I was on the other side of the table as a fan and wanted to become a writer. I thought I had a pretty good imagination. When I went around trying to write comic books and went to publishers, everybody told me no.
Really?
Everybody. Everybody told me no. But with all the no's, all you need is one yes. I found a
Yeah.
publisher for Number One First Comics, and publisher Ken F. Levin, and he saw my works, saw what I had done. I had learned how to self-publish, and I self-published one of my books called Night Stalker. And Night Stalker happened to win the Glyph Award for Best Female Character.
Really?
So I had a little bit of credibility comic
Yeah.
book wise. And then when I went to his booth at the San Diego Comic Con, and I said my name, he knew who I was. He said, wait a minute, did you just win the Glyph Award? I was like, yeah, I just won the Glyph Award. He said, come on in, and we've been together ever since. He's been a great publisher, a good mentor, and I love creating comic books and stories. My realm is pretty much the sci-fi and fantasy
Yeah.
realm. Today, I have my books Night Stalker and Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
The good thing about it, Night Stalker just sold out a little while ago. We bought about 40 books, brought 40 books here. They're all gone now, which is
that's
great.
good, yeah.
And Red Riding Hood here only has a couple more books before I sell out of that. So the Yuma show has always been a good show for me. I lived in
Yeah.
Yuma for 10 years. 10 years I lived here
Yeah.
before I moved to Palm Springs. I used to work at Yuma Probation in drug court as a therapist there. And so it's always great. Yuma's been very good. They bring me back each and every year,
Yeah.
even when there's another show at the same time, which there is. Los Angeles Comic Con is going on right now, but I'm always going to come to the Yuma show because they take care of me.
No, that's good,
Yeah.
yeah. And how many years have you been publishing?
I've been published about 14 years now.
14
About
years
14
old.
years now when I first broke in. The very first book I came out with Number One First was Night Stalker. That was my first book. And the one that just sold out is the newest version, the latest version of it, the latest story and everything. So they've been good. And then after Night Stalker was Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
So it's a journey. We have a good team that works on both the books, and with both books, we're trying to definitely take them to the next level.
Oh, okay. And what can you tell me about Night Stalker?
Night Stalker. Night Stalker is a demonic detective from hell.
Oh, okay.
The gates of hell have been breached, and several creatures have escaped. And they're hiding on Earth, posing as human beings. She's been tasked by the Dark Lord to identify the creatures, track them, capture them, drag them back to hell. But as you know, they won't go back to hell willingly. They actually have the ability to time jump. So she has to chase them to different time periods of Earth. Her being an African American character, the creatures pulled a fast one that she did not see coming. They have purposely gone to the segregated 1920s, 30s,
Wow, yeah.
South.
Wow.
So we're talking about the Mississippi, Alabamas, and Texas. And so
Yeah.
you have this high-ranking, kick-butt bounty demon hunter who has to fit into that time period, still do her job to capture the creatures, and not change the past in order to affect the future. Needless to say, she screws it all up. She actually causes Armageddon, and it's going to be up to her to fix everything.
That is definitely a story. Yeah, very interesting. I'm sure some of our listeners are like, "Whoa, like this is something crazy."
It's gotten a really, really good reaction. Normally Red Riding Hood outsells Night Stalker. Night Stalker this weekend killed everything I had to sell. That people just kept buying the book.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And what would you like give advice to people who want to, become like a, publisher or like
Or
what
a writer.
you do?
What I do, if
Yeah.
they want to write or if they want to be published, you better do it on a regular basis. You have to really sharpen your writing skills, tell stories that, first of all, are going to be interesting, compelling, and keep people's interest.
Yeah.
A lot of times back in the day, with comic books, they had a lot of books where they were very sexualized, a lot of, showing over-exaggeration of body parts and everything. That attracted people, like, oh, what's this about, all this skimpy stuff? But it never catches anybody's, it holds their attention.
Yeah.
People want compelling stories, well thought out stories, something that's going to hone them in and where they can identify with the characters nowadays. I would tell anybody who wants to be published, get used to the word no. Get used to that.
Yeah.
Or even besides the words no, for nobody ever calling you back. I think it's the toughest as a writer to break into comics or anything. I think it's right. You know, the artist can show their work. You can look at it and see that if they can draw or not.
Yeah.
A writer, somebody has to sit down, take the time to actually read a story. And that may take an hour or an hour and a half for them to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's one of the things. You get ready to be told no, or just get ready for nobody to ever call you back.
Yeah.
You know, I've gotten close a couple of times before I hooked up with First Comics. I almost had something with Image Comics, but I got the shaft. I never got a call back. I had one guy who was actually interested in my book. He thought it looked really good, and he wanted to give me a shot, but he wasn't a shot caller. So he sent me to the head guy over at Image Comics, and the head guy never got back with me, never returned any of my emails. And that's the toughest thing. I think the job is toughest for writers because they plain and simply have to take a half an hour to an hour, maybe an hour and a half to read your stories, to see if you can write. And getting somebody to do that who's busy, got their own schedules, and they have their own writers and people they've already green-lighted or what have you, it makes it that much tougher for you. So you got to be consistent, persistent, and be pretty good at what you're doing because you know what? You're competing against everybody else who are already published, who already have fame or notoriety or already have titles out there. And in the end, I did a panel at the Yumacon yesterday. What I explained at the panel is you are in the end asking somebody to literally take maybe $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, put it into your imagination, to take your imagination and make it into a book, and ask them to spend that kind of money on you. That's a tall ask. So you better bring it. When you do it, you better bring it. You know, when I created Night Stalker, when I created Red Riding Hood, that's what they did. They put about $20,000 into these books to hire the artists, to hire the inkers, to hire the letterers, to hire the colorists, pay out for all of that, and then pay for the actual printing of the book, and then shipping it out into publishing. So it's no short task. It's a tall order.
Yeah. Wow. You put in a lot of work into what you have to do. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to tell the listeners about, what you do, just as a vendor here?
You know what? We all are good at what we do. We all are good at what we do. I would tell the listeners, you know what? Go out, check out the books. But I stress, give the independent comics a shot.
Yeah.
Everybody knows about Marvel. Everybody knows about DC. We know about Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, The Flash. We know all the X-Men. But there are so many cool, compelling stories out there for the independent guys, the guys you haven't heard of. Stop by their booths, give them a shot. I love at the Yumacon, so many people gave us a shot. They came by the booth to the point that I sold out of a book. And it was not a cheap book either. The book was $30. $30.
Yeah.
And I sold out because they really dug the story and they liked the artwork, and that's what compels them. I can't be who I am without my team, without my artists. I'm a good writer. I have no problem saying that. I believe I'm a good writer. I tell pretty good stories. But they wouldn't be who they were unless it was for my artists, like David Miller, Andres Esparza, my inkers, Victor Moya, my colorist, Steve Cobb, my letterers, Kel Nuttall, and Ed Dukeshire, and of course, my publisher, Ken F. Levin, who gave us all the opportunity to do this and put up all the money.
Well, thank you so much for telling me your story. It was really interesting hearing all about it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for stopping by the booth. I really appreciate it.